I am pregnant again. I had a baby 4 months ago. I am already 10 weeks pregnant with baby number 5.
Our glamping camp has been permanently shut down. I've had time to process. I think the hardest part was actually taking the tents down and pulling all this stuff out. And I was trying so hard not to cry.
You can see this baby that has legs and feet that are kicking around. It's the sweetest little thing. And there's different parts of the brain. And it's this fully developed baby already at 10 weeks.
My stomach, can I just show you? I look 4 months pregnant right now, but I promise I'm not. Anybody that's just listening, you guys got to come watch the YouTube channel. We have some very, very exciting news to talk about. And Heather, do you want to tell us what is going on with you?
So at this point, I'm thinking there's not anyone that doesn't know because the reel is up to 450,000 views. So most people have probably seen that I am pregnant already. Again, no, this episode is not 3 or 4 months old. I had a baby 4 months ago, and I am already 10 weeks pregnant with baby number 5.
How are you feeling about that?
How am I feeling? I think it's a mixture of emotions where I'm excited, and I have a friend who has 8 kids, and she sent me a text message that said you will never regret having a big family. And I totally resonate with that, right? But as you're kind of going, people have started talking about postpartum more than they used to. And as you're going through the extreme hormonal changes, the changes in your body while you're trying to lose weight, to smack dab in the middle of that, be nope, we're starting over. I know you didn't get to lose the baby weight, and we're gonna be gaining it again. And your emotions aren't stable anymore. So just also, you don't get to forget how much labor sucked before you start anticipating it again. So as much as I'm excited, I'm also holy crap, I will be 40 by then, and I'm gonna have a 5th baby. My kids are homeschooled. This is a lot.
And you've made some big changes in your home now that you've gotten well, first of all, let's go back. When you first found out that you were pregnant 3 months after giving birth, what was your initial reaction?
I think I've had enough kids that I realized I was pregnant, but my husband's this is wrong. You're not pregnant. I'm it's not wrong. You get false negatives, not false positives on the pregnancy. He's this isn't accurate. I'm dude, yes, it is. To the point to where I just went to my doctor's appointment yesterday. And it's the 10-week appointment. So they do your ultrasound and all that stuff. And he's I'm still thinking they might tell you you're not pregnant. I'm that's not going to happen. And I'm far enough along. And this is kind of side note and off on a tangent, but, all of the talk about, I'm probably going to get canceled over this, all of the talk about abortions that was happening, it hasn't been as much as it was when some of the stuff changed in Texas and things like that. But I think a lot of people who've never had a baby don't understand how quickly it becomes an actual baby. At 10 weeks, you can see this baby that has legs and feet that are kicking around. It's the sweetest little thing. And there's different parts of the brain. And it's this fully developed baby already at 10 weeks. So when you go to that 10-week appointment, you're holy crap, I'm really pregnant already. So obviously now he's okay, fine, you're pregnant. But
so he was shocked initially, I'm assuming.
To the point where he was just yeah, I don't think that's possible.
He was in denial, basically.
Yeah, and the comments are hilarious on Instagram. People are I have an extra TV if you want to borrow it. or someone else is this isn't a surprise. You know how babies are made. You're clearly I know how babies are made. Thanks. Yeah.
I think that it's so cool. So I don't know. I feel there's so many benefits to having kids so close in age. Because then you have the baby, you have all the baby stuff, right? And you haven't gotten rid of it.
Well, that's why when everyone's oh, are you hoping to have a boy? I'm no, I have tons of girl stuff now. I literally want a girl because I have a house full of girl stuff.
So he was shocked initially. I'm assuming you knew that you were pregnant, but were you holy shit?
Pretty much. And I text my mom. My mom's my best friend. And she's What? No. Which is, most people, when you're like announcing you're pregnant, most people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. My whole family's like, what the hell?
Because you
Like,
literally just had a baby. And so
literally
I
to the
think
point to where they're like, it's not April Fool's Day. Like, are you sure? And the kids will literally be 11 months apart. So, like, they're not even a year apart.
everyone's going to think they're twins.
Everyone's going to think they're twins. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even some of them were like, do you have baby names? I'm like, no, I've named 4 kids already. I barely had a name for the last one.
So do you want to have more kids even after this one?
So we talked about an episode or 2 ago about how my husband's going to be a stay-at-home dad now starting in January. I think we'll see how that goes. See how that transition goes. If it's something that he's happy with, if it's something that works for our family, then I mean, eventually I've got to be too old to be doing this, right? It can't keep happening. But the biggest part is like I can only give attention to so many kids. And right now, with them being homeschooled and home all day, me running multiple companies, it's a tough balance. I'm getting my butt kicked. So I'm really hoping that him being home is going to make a big difference. We went to this conference over the weekend. They're super cool if you've never been to one. They're called Life Surge. So they mix Christianity with business. And the speakers are amazing people like Ed Milet and the lady who founded Annie Ann's Pretzels and like huge business owners. And they kind of talk to you about like Christianity and leadership and business in general, kind of focused on stocks and real estate. So obviously right up my alley. And he went also, so did my friend Carolina and her husband and some other people we knew. And it was almost all men on stage except for Annie Ann's. And the men were all talking about these businesses that they've built and these amazing like adventures. And when we walked away, the answer though is, and they all had like 4, 5, 6 kids. None of them were like, kid free. They all have wives at home who not only are taking care of the kids, they're running the household, they're making sure all the bills are paid, they're making sure the grocery list is made, the house is clean, the kids have the next size shoes when they need them. Like the things that are inside a mom's brain, like we have to like inventory the groceries we have before we go grocery shopping to then know what we're going to cook, to then get it on the plate. The skill of having every ingredient or every like every dish to your meal cooked and done at the same time, like putting the leftovers away and planning for the kids' lunch the next day. All of that stuff needs to be able to leave my head start to finish if we're going to have more kids. Because if I'm the breadwinner and paying all of the bills and setting us up for our future, that stuff has to like exit my mind. And that was one of the like, no one else probably took that away from the conference we went to. But that was my takeaway, that somebody else has got to take that stuff over for me to continue doing this. I was a single mom for 6, almost 7 years, and doing it with 3 was tough enough. Doing it with 5 and 2 infants, like, dude, that's beyond me.
Yeah. And do you think, I mean, I know you've talked about it before because you've posted about it, that he has more of those like maternal instincts. And so do you think, I mean, you've already put the goal in place for him to help care for the kids. Do you think that he's going to do a better job of that than you are?
100%. Dude, he's so compassionate and patient, and he's a physical therapist, so like that caregiver like natural instinct that he has is so much better than mine is. And I don't know if it's because I had so many years of trying to be mom and dad, that I didn't get a chance to just be mom and have all of those maternal instincts. Like I had to keep us all alive. He does so much better than I do at that part. I think it will just be, he's never run a household before, and it's truly a skill set. Even yesterday, he was like, here's the 3 things that I want to cook for dinner this week. I'm like, great. That requires like an actual grocery list, because you don't just go to the grocery store and say, I want to make steak for dinner. Like, you need to know you need a steak, you need some butter, you need some salt and pepper. What's your side dish? Like, do you have the tin foil for the grill? Like, all of the things it encompasses. It'll be interesting to see him develop into that role.
And are you going to help kind of train him? I know that sounds bad, like train, but like help him achieve those those goals and things that you need to get done?
I don't think so, because I think if I think about my girlfriends who are stay-at-home moms and their defensiveness and attitude towards their husband, if their husband says anything like, "Hey, like, why is the laundry not been done?" They, like, freak out and are like, "Do you know what I've done today? Blah, blah, blah." Like, it doesn't go well for their relationship. So, we had a clear conversation just recently about, like, staying at home doesn't really mean that, like, you and the baby are just going for walks all day. It's a legitimate job. Like, dishes need done, like, laundry needs continuously going so everyone has clean clothes. You've got to, like we just talked about, think through the grocery shopping, and he's going to be helping with the homeschooling. Like, it's there's like a checklist of things you need to try and accomplish every day. But the beauty of that is, if it happens tomorrow, who cares? So I think giving him a whole lot of grace is probably the way that will work out best. If I can continue to remember the way my girlfriends feel when their husbands say something to them about it, I got to remember that.
Yeah, so like not micromanaging, I feel like his stuff and kind of letting him do
How
things
about
the way
you? I
that
mean, Travis does a lot of that stuff for y'all. How do you manage those roles?
the opposite of you. I'm like, what are you doing? How come you did not do the freaking laundry? Like, I don't have clean clothes. What are you doing? No. It's so funny because I feel like we get along so well, but we are so like, there's so many things that we're very different, you know? And so I feel like I love that we do a podcast because it kind of complements. You're like, I'm going to let him do things on his own time. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely not happening over here.
Well,
I
I
am like,
think the lessons I learned with a failed marriage and like the healing of that over that 6 or 7 years probably made those differences that you and I have.
yeah. And also I think our husbands are different. So like my husband needs to be told to do something or it won't get done. Um, so for instance, I'm at my cabin, our Airbnb cabin today, and we needed to pull like personal belongings out because we're planning on buying a primary house somewhere else. And it has been hours and he has not opened the garage to take anything out. And if I don't tell him, Trav, it's, we only have a certain amount of time here, like he'll just wait until I come out to tell him. So I feel like some people need to be told what to do, and then others, will get it done on their own. But my husband, no.
So, any advice to give after years of having those reverse roles?
For you, I think it's just so different because your husband's so different than mine. I'm pretty sure my husband's on the spectrum. He hasn't been like formally diagnosed, but he's kind of admitted over time. And then also our kids, are. And so I'm like, well, it had to come from somewhere. And so I think that he's so good at certain things. Like I tell him all the time, like, you're such a genius. He can literally figure out how to do like electrical. I'm like, like, how did you know how to do that? And he's like, oh, I watched a YouTube video. He jokes and he's like sarcastic because he didn't watch a YouTube video. He just like knows how to do really hard things. But when it comes to like common sense stuff, like he doesn't have it. And he knows it. I tell him all the time. So this is nothing like new of me like dogging on my husband because he's like so smart that he doesn't know how to do like regular people things.
And there's
But
nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own skill sets. And, like, no offense, you and I aren't like the smartest book smart people. And I think having somebody with different skill sets in life is probably really important to balance out your family.
yes, that is I totally 100% agree with that. And that is how we do well. It's like how we complement each other, just like how we complement each other. So things that I'm good at, he's not, and things that he's good at, I'm not. So it just works well.
So,
And he
speaking
loves
of
that with
being
me.
at the cabin, you're where the glamping resort was, right?
Yes, I am. And sadly, our glamping camp has been permanently shut down. I
No, it
know,
was
it's so
so
sad.
amazing to watch you build. I can't imagine how you're feeling emotionally about that.
It's been a little while that I've, gotten letters from the county and then, so I've had time to like process. But I think the hardest part was like actually taking the tents down and pulling all this stuff out. And I was like trying so hard not to cry. And I was like, man, like, but I do this thing where I I try really hard that anytime I have like negative thoughts in my head, I try to instantly replace them with something positive. And then anytime I'm feeling down or sad or like bummed out or like a failure, I instantly will like get my phone out and I'll start writing down things I'm really grateful for and things that like I do have. And that instantly helps me feel better again. And so that's like a little tip for anyone that feels like, maybe you feel like a failure or you worked really hard at something and it didn't work out for whatever reason. A good way is to write a gratitude list. So that's what I was doing the whole time I was taking my camp down. But also I was like thinking, man, I learned so much during this whole experience. And it was so fun. Like I had so much fun building that. I got to make so many cool memories, like with my dad who came to help, and even my kids were out there, like little kids like helping. And I got to make some really cool memories that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So I've taken a lot of like good positive experiences away from it, and I've learned a lot. And I know that, if I want to do it again in the future, I kind of have so much more experience now and kind of like know what mistakes not to make,
And
So
what are some of those things? What would you have done differently if you were starting all over?
So one thing that I learned from a mentor who I'm speaking with right now was to get things in writing. So I called because a lot of people are like, you're so dumb. Like, why didn't you know that like, why would you spend all of your money doing this when, you didn't even see if you needed permits? Well, I did call and I called the county and I talked to just somebody on the phone who was like, I don't know, a receptionist. And she was like, oh, no, you don't need permits or any special permits. You just need to register for TOT tax if you're doing Airbnb. So I was like, okay, cool. And because it was my first time, I didn't think like, oh, I need to get something in writing, just to cover my butt. So that is one of the biggest things, was to, when you make those calls because you want to build something, to make sure that you get everything in writing. But also if it's like an existing campground that someone owns that you're trying to buy, to not do it, because you don't want to like screw up someone else's like business, like a mom and pop business. So those are the big things I learned.
What
And
did
then
you do that turned out great that you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this for sure next time?
so I think one of the biggest things, and something that, not to like brag in any way, but I think finding out like what you're really good at, and is mine, I think, is marketing. And like before, like we were even open, like I had the news come out, which I think was like so beneficial and letting people know we even existed. So I think that was one thing that we did. And just social media also, like our social media did really well and people were posting. And so what was the question again?
What things did you do that worked so well that you'd be doing them again?
Yeah. So it would be that. It would be my knowledge and my skill set for just social media, and marketing and like the PR side of it. I think I did well, that I would do again.
You're so skilled at that. Even the way you set videos up and you plan out your content, you're so great at that.
Thank you. I think it's because I really love it. It's really fun for me. Like even at our retreats, you're always like, "Oh, thank you for sending me these videos." Like I always have my phone out. I always have my camera out because I
Oh my
love
gosh, but
doing
that
it.
also means that you have so many things to use against us. The karaoke, y'all, and the dancing at the last retreat. Shannon literally has all of it on film. They can probably blackmail each and every one of us.
I would never. But that was so fun, by the way. Karaoke, man, pajama karaoke, it made it even better. We were like in our pajamas doing karaoke at like this like fancy hotel, and it was just so much fun. And I think the best part was like Heather texts me and she's like, "Can you sing?" And I was like, "Hell no, I cannot sing." And she's like, "Yeah, me neither." She's like, "But we need to like get a song so that we can, sing, so the other girls will want to like get up and sing." And so she kept sending me these like hard songs. I'm like, "Listen, I can't hit these notes. We need to make an easy song." But I think the one we picked was good. And then guess what? You guys are not going to believe this. Heather's like, "Yeah, I can't sing." So I'm thinking like, oh, like we're going to both be up there singing bad together, so it won't be so bad. And then I hear this woman's voice and I'm like, what? She's the freaking
Shut
voice of
up.
an angel.
I cannot sing. Dude, that is the first time I've ever sang karaoke. I literally can't sing.
You're a closet hidden karaoke queen is what you are.
I don't think so. It was all Heather when I was singing with her and her yodeling skills.
Oh yeah, yodeling Heather is like the best. Actually, Erin, there were a lot of girls that could sing, and I was like, holy
Yeah,
crap, like these
I
girls are
agree.
talented. But I think that we should post actually, because I have a lot of footage from that retreat. I think we should post and take a poll. Can Heather sing? Yes or no? And we'll
No,
see.
no, no. Like you should, for each girl from the retreat, you could be like, surprise video of the day. Meet so and so.
They would kill me. Everyone's gonna be like scared of me at the next retreat. They're gonna be like, "Sheila, don't come near me with your camera."
Speaking of next retreat, we're in the middle of planning for the March retreat. The next one's in March. These are always so much fun, y'all. This one's in South Florida. And Shannon was joking with me talking about how fun my job is because I think it was last Friday night. We all went and did a riverboat cruise where you kind of go up and down the river in Fort Lauderdale and you see like all the famous people's, 40, $50 million mansions. And then you get off on a little island and you go have dinner and some entertainment. And then you ride the boat back. And we did it because we're trying to figure out which activities to do for the next retreat. And it's like, I don't know, $10,000 or something for all the women to go. So I'm like, I should go do this before we pay the $10,000 for everyone to go. So we're planning all those activities out right now. But planning the retreats is one of my favorite part of the mastermind.
Yeah, because you were saying like, we always talk about like hiring things out that things that we're not good at, but like if you really like it and enjoy it, like Heather plans majority of her retreats, right? You do all this yourself?
Yeah, I have an assistant who does some other stuff for me in Tennessee, and I'm always like, Sandy, I need you to find this exact thing, and she's like, Heather, do you know? I'm like, I need the perfect pink cup, like, and so Sandy is so skilled at finding exactly what I'm looking for, and I honestly don't know if I could hire that out because I have such high expectations, and usually when you it's not like a wedding planner where like they meet with the bride and like the bride like designs everything. When you hire an event planner, typically it's a little bit of your vision mixed in with what they turn it into. And I'm so into it. I think I would be highly frustrated if I tried to hire an actual company to do that for us. So I think I'm better off with I probably need to delegate a few things to my team that I shouldn't be doing, but I think I like keeping that part. I don't think I know. I like keeping that part is something that I'm responsible for.
Yeah. Well, and you do a really good job at it. And so I think that you should keep doing it until you don't like
Well,
it
you did
anymore.
that with the glamping camp too, like y'all decorating. I know that you had some help with the cabin, but the tents were freaking adorable, and the ideas that you had for those and the unique pieces you were finding. Did you find them at thrift shops? Where'd you find all that
Yeah,
stuff?
for one, I am obsessed with thrift shopping. It is like a problem actually, I think that I have because my husband's like anytime we're like traveling, I'm like, "Oh, like there's a thrift store, let's go." I'm like, "Oh my God, we have
What's
to
the
stop."
difference in going to a thrift store and an antique store?
So an antique store is way more expensive, right? Because they're like, oh, these are old things that are worth money. And so they cost more. But thrift stores is like a treasure hunt. You have to like look for those antique things, that you would want. But also, I think the thing that I love the most is like you get a really good deal, right? So you're like, oh, you're saving tons of money. It's good for the environment. I'm very big on being eco-friendly. And then the other thing is this, it's like a treasure hunt. You never know like what you're gonna find. It's very exciting. I found the coolest thing. They're like these like heirloom baking like things, and they're expensive, and I usually will buy them like one at a time, and I freaking found one at the thrift store for $10, and I was so excited, and I was like, oh my God, I freaking scored. So it's like it's an exciting thing,
So it's legitimate like a hobby for you.
yeah, it really is. I love it. Well, so that is another reason why I was like, this is so fun. And same with like the Airbnb. I'm not good at designing, like I'm not good at interior design, but I'm good at thrift shopping. So I like to find pieces and then I give those pieces to an interior designer, and then she finds a way to make them look really cool in the space. So there's a lot of things like that I was able to go do something that's fun for me and then incorporate that into a business.
So when I think of thrift shopping, I think of like Goodwill, which I assume is not what you're talking about. So how do you find these places?
No, I go to Goodwill. I'll go to any thrift store. Um, I don't love Goodwill because their prices are freaking going up so high right now, which is like crazy. There's like a basket for like $17. I'm like, you guys got this for free. Come on, like, you know. But yeah, any thrift store, you can find me. If there is a thrift store nearby, I will be sneaking into it.
So when you're gone somewhere and you're wanting to go, do you just put in your phone thrift store, like in the Google search? What are you searching to find these places?
I see a cutie little kid back there. Hey, you. Is that Ariana?
It is Ariana.
Hi, Ariana. Um, so yeah, I'll just type in thrift stores and then I'll find them. But when I'm traveling in the motorhome, it's hard because I don't have space for this stuff, you know. But when I get an Airbnb, I'm like, oh, I get to like go to thrift stores and buy so much fun stuff for it. So anyway, yeah, that is one of my favorite. Have you gone thrift store shopping before?
I'm trying to think. The only times I've been is we have this place not too far from. I live in like this bougie area, y'all, and I am not bougie, so none of the neighbors talk to me. We're like the rednecks of the neighborhood. I have this giant F-450 truck in the driveway, and they think I'm totally insane. But I live here because I like being able to walk to the beach, and you can walk to the beach from here. And on my walk to the beach, there's this thrift store that only has designer stuff. So they have like the designer purses, the designer clothes, the designer shoes. And I walked through there one time because it's on my walk, and they still want like, it's still like 80% the cost of design. I'm like,
That's not
I
a
don't need
thrift
that.
store, Heather. That's not a thrift store.
I'm
That's
like, I don't need that. I'm just going to buy a new one if it's 80% of like, no, thank you.
I think that's more of like a consignment shop, right?
I
So
think
like,
you're right. It's called something consignment. So there's like
yeah.
different categories of what you're talking about.
Yes. So you don't want to go to like an antique store because it's probably going to be too pricey. You want to go to like a actual thrift store where the prices are like very cheap, and because that's where it's fun, because you're like, and also like the kids love it. I bet if you brought your kids, they would be like, oh, it's like a treasure hunt for them. I don't know. I think it's really fun. Anyway, my stomach, can I just show you? Well, anybody that's just listening, you guys got to come watch the YouTube channel.
What is happening, Shannon? You look, what is happening?
I look 4 months pregnant right now, but I promise I'm not. I have the most bloated stomach. I was in so much pain. I landed myself in the emergency room the other day because I thought that I had like an appendix rupturing. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I have internal bleeding. Something's not right. My stomach is freaking huge. And I was like in so much pain. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I swear, every podcast, I'm like, I'm going to die. People at my, people in my comment section are like, Shannon, you're a hypochondriac. But I'm like, I promise you, my stomach does not usually look this big. And it was just so painful. Of course, I go to the emergency room and they're like, yeah, you're totally fine. You just had a cyst rupture. But I'm like, no, something's not right. So I ended up doing a juice fast. Have you ever done a juice fast before?
I have. They're super hard.
Yeah. Well, you said that you had a cyst the size of your phone.
I did. Like, so I've done a juice fast. We can talk about that too, but I had a cyst. So think about how big your phone is,
Yeah.
and then put it like where your ovaries would be. For someone who hasn't had that, it was like as painful as childbirth because they twist and all kinds of stuff. And I went to the emergency room because I was in so much pain. This was after my first child. And dude, emergency rooms are like not the smartest place to go. I mean, you have to sometimes, but like they're like, we think you have an extra kidney. You're like, what? You don't think out of all these ultrasounds I've had, they would have noticed an extra kidney during the last like 9 months? So they gave me some pain meds and I got through like the cyst stuff. And then I went and saw my gynecologist who's like, you don't have an extra kidney, you have a giant cyst. But they were wanting to remove one of my fallopian tubes because of it. And I'd only had one child at this point. So I was super upset and freaking out and willing to do anything. And so I went to the naturopathic doctor. Y'all have heard me talk about all of my like natural ways of doing things. I go to the naturopathic doctor and he does some tests and like talks to me about some stuff and ultimately put me on this diet that was mostly drinking bone broth. Y'all see me after Thanksgiving and all the holidays making bone broth with my turkey bones and stuff like that. But this one had like seaweed and all kinds of other things inside the broth. And I had to drink nothing but broth for a week. And then some other stuff with the diet. But it totally went away and I've never had the problems again. So whether it was, you know, the grace of God or the bone broth, uh the cyst went away from that. But I've done the juice fast with like losing weight in general, or like going on a trip and feeling like I just ate crap for a week and want to like reset and be healthy. I'll do the juice fast. But I live in a city where I can get really great options where I pick the juice up every morning. Are you picking it up or are you making it?
So speaking of bougie, I have it delivered because it's only like where I live is only like $8 to have it delivered. So yeah, I have it delivered and they do it that morning. So you can order it like the night before and then the next morning it's on your doorstep at like 7 a.m.
I
So
think ours does that too, but mine's like 2 blocks away, so I walk. But
yeah, I
same
don't like
idea.
leaving my house. I'm scared of people, Heather. I don't want to talk to anybody. It's so funny because like I do social media and I love like doing it, but in person I'm like really kind of shy sometimes and like I don't
So
want
am
to talk to
I. And
people.
it's the like people I don't think understand because we're so extroverted on the internet that
Uh-huh.
like we're kind of like I kind of hide at the retreats. Like I talk to people if they talk to me, but like maybe I even come across as bratty, but it's more just like being introverted. And I was telling you how with the video I made about being pregnant was the first one my husband's been in. I don't even know that most people have seen him on Instagram before, which crazy the comments I got about that too. But
Wait,
his
what? What comments did you? Okay, wait. Talk about what you're gonna say, but I want to hear about the comments
the
that you got about
comments were
him.
like, "Ooh, clearly you like young Asian boys." I'm like, "He's not a boy. He's 30 years old. Shut up."
It's
Like just
because
stupid.
Asians look younger. They're like,
It is
yeah.
right, right. It's stupid stuff, but um, tons of stuff like that. But what was I saying? Oh, so that was his family because they're like totally normal people and don't understand like social media influencers. They're like tagging him and they're like, "Congratulations, Joshy." You're like, "Okay, people, we're not tagging his account. Like 500,000 people have seen this, and like I don't need stalkers." Because like think about like the way we post videos. I make sure that like my street sign isn't in the picture or our house number or like my license plate tag doesn't show in the background. Like stuff normal people don't even think about
Yeah.
when they're taking pictures or posting videos. And that's how my husband is. He's a totally normal guy. He has a private account just because he's a normal person. And so every time I would see something from them, I'm like, "Oh my God," freak out and delete it because I'm like, I don't need them tagging him. So yeah.
I love that. Well, are you planning? I messaged you and I was like, you guys are so cute together. Do you plan on posting more with him in your videos? Like, is he into social media or not really?
I don't think he cares. Yeah.
Or do you want to keep him more private?
I don't know because I can remember following. There's been two different people that I follow, both of them for the same reason. They're like fitness influencers, and I follow them because I like seeing what they buy at the grocery store. I like seeing what they eat. I like seeing their workouts or they travel, and this is the exercises they do to keep up while they're traveling. And one of the girls was getting married, and I swear for like a month, her content was nothing but wedding crap, and I did
Mm.
not want to watch wedding crap. And so finally, and y'all, I know your weddings are beautiful, but like there's reasons you follow accounts, right? And so I ended up unfollowing her because I'm like, I don't want to see stuff about a bunch of wedding stuff. It's beautiful to see like a little bit of it, but like there's only so much you want to see. And then there's another girl who I used to follow, and she started dating a guy, and like every other video is with this guy she was dating, and I'm like, I don't care about his life. I'm here for fitness content.
Right.
So I think there's a mix between like people have followed Heather because they want to see real estate content. So I don't know where that balance is of like, but most of my Ask Me Anythings are questions about my husband. But I think that's just because I got married so quickly and it was like this mystery of like, wait, Heather has a husband? Holy crap, she's having a baby. So I don't know where that balance is. What do you think?
Well, I talked about in the presentation I gave the mastermind recently, there's an 80-20 balance that I think if you are already kind of a business account and you started out that way, that you post 80% business, 20% personal, but I mean, I feel very strongly that people should be posting more personal stuff because no matter, I'll give you an example. I follow, and this is probably maybe weird to some people that don't already follow me and maybe are Heather's followers listening to this right now, but I use cloth pads. They're reusable pads for your period. And there's many reasons why I use these, but
I have underwear that do that. I have like you
yeah,
can buy
period.
underwear that are for the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they're called period panties, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. So wait, do you use those?
Yeah. I can't
Oh
remember
my
the name of the
gosh.
brand though. But yeah, I can't wear
There's a
them
lot of
now,
them.
obviously. I haven't had a
Yeah.
period in like
Well, that's really
100 years.
interesting, because some people think it's like, really gross, but what's more gross is the toxic chemicals that you are sticking up inside of you that are like bleached and have horrible things that are causing all kinds of problems for you
Yeah, the
that you
side
probably.
effects for that are unreal.
Yeah, especially because I have endometriosis, which is like already super painful. And so sticking anything, even like one of those like cups, like what are those little cups that people
And
stick in?
that's
And
so awkward. I know there's people who love those, but I tried that in the beginning and like I just couldn't get used to it.
yeah, I didn't like it either, but it's probably because like my insides are all screwed up. But yeah, it was very uncomfortable for me. So I use these cloth pads. So um, my point is, in going back to why I think people should be posting personal stuff, is I follow an account of this woman that makes and has a business of creating these cloth pads, and she's very successful, and she does it on like a high level, but still herself. Like she doesn't do it. It's not like made by other people. All the pads are sewn like in her studio. And I follow her because I like her cloth pads. But I don't even buy the cloth pads from her because I sew mine myself. But I just like her as a person. And she posts like personal stuff. And because she's posting personal stuff and like about her business and the behind the scenes, it makes me want to buy her pads, even though I probably wouldn't even use them. Like I want to support her business because I see her and I want to support her as a person. So that's why I think there's so much power in posting the personal side, and letting people get to know you, because then people want to support you and your business.
Speaking of things people are posting, have you seen this stuff with permanent jewelry?
I have. I think that that's such a crazy thing. And no one's heard of this before, it's basically, and I think the Kardashians have done this where, like, I think Cartier is one of the brands that has them, but they're bracelets that you like put on and you like screw them on with like a tool and they're permanently on there. And so you have to like take a tool or a key to like get it off, but they're
So
supposed
you
to
like
like stay
shower
on.
with these and like you just never take them off?
I think so. I think that's like I don't know, like the exciting part about it. I don't like wearing jewelry, so that is something definitely I would not do. Would you ever do permanent jewelry?
No, I wear a necklace every once in a while and my wedding ring, but I have some really beautiful jewelry too. And I don't know why. I don't really wear it.
Yeah, I'm not a jewelry girl. I
I
don't
think it
know.
annoys me, like bracelets, how they like clink on stuff. And like my mom always looks perfect with like her necklace and her earrings, and she's totally decked out. I follow this lady on Instagram named Juju, and she's so much fun. And she always has like these perfect statement necklaces and like the belt and the headpiece, and like she looks adorable every freaking day. And like I feel like a clown when I do that. Or even Olivia. Olivia's like earrings are
Oh,
always perfect with her like bright outfits. I feel like a clown when I do that.
I know. I think that like some people can pull it off, and then there's people like me that like cannot pull it off. I'm sure
It's
that
kind of
you
like some
could.
people who look good in a baseball cap and some people don't.
I just am not good at style, but you're right. Olivia is so cute with her like matching stuff. But if I tried to do that, people would be like, "What in the world is she wearing?"
Or people like think about, so there's permanent jewelry, which isn't really like permanent. It's fairly easy to get off. It's more permanent than something else. But or the temporary makeup. What do they call that? Temporary. What are they?
Oh yeah,
Semi-permanent.
like yeah, the semi-permanent makeup. I actually got that. Oh my God, I have a crazy story. Do you want to hear it?
Of course.
Okay, so my mom had gotten, sorry, I keep wiping my nose. My nose is like running. So my mom had this lady who was a patient of hers, and she did permanent makeup, and she's like, "Oh, Shannon, you should go get the permanent eyeliner." And I have really bad anxiety. Like I'm on medication for it. I take like Zoloft daily for my for my horrible like generalized anxiety.
I feel like we need a list of your medications. That should be one of our topics one week, because I feel like each week you tell me about this new like medication that's so helpful to your life.
I'm like an old person, Heather. I literally have a huge like gallon Ziploc bag of like all my prescription medications. And my goal for 2024 is to get healthier so I can stop taking so much medication. But yes, you're right. I do. I have like a million health issues that I'm working on, but I have really bad anxiety. I've had it since I was 17, and I was getting permanent makeup. And they were like this was like back in the day when they would like hand do it on your eyes. And I was like freaking out, and my mom had given me a Xanax for the first time, and she's like, "Oh, here, just take this, and you'll relax, and it'll relax you." Well, it relaxed me so much, like while I was getting this done, that I was like, "Lady, I have to pee like really bad." And she had like this studio in her. It was like a studio in the back of her house, and there was no bathroom. So I literally, she got a little like trash can, and
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
I had like one eye, like, closed, and the other eye kind of closed. And I'm like peeing in a trash can as I'm getting like my permanent or semi permanent like eyeliner done. And yeah, I'll never forget that story of peeing in a trash can in this lady's house and how awkward and weird it
Wait, so
was.
how did the eyeliner turn out?
So it didn't turn out very well, and she got like some of it down here. I think it was like kind of like a hack job, like I literally went to someone's back studio at their house. So no, it didn't really work out, and it ended up fading. Like you have to, like continually get it done. But this, she had done it like by hand, like
Yeah,
needles.
so I had so I had microblading done on my eyebrows. Have you had that done?
No, but I probably
Yeah, and it's
should.
the same thing. They have like a blade and they like cut into your skin almost like a tattoo would, right?
Yeah.
And then they put the dye over it. It's like they numb you really well because you can even like because it's like on your bone as it goes over here, you can like feel it almost like dental work. Like, dude,
Oh,
it's weird. But it lasts for like 2 years and then you go get touched up, kind of like you're talking about. But mine doesn't look that much different because I have like extreme eyebrows to begin with. I like it because when I go get my eyebrows waxed, like there's already like a outline there, and the women, because I don't like the way they shape my eyebrows, so this way they kind of have no choice to follow the line that they're supposed to be. But some people, especially people who have lighter colored hair, it looks like dramatically different and makes them look like whole different people. I was looking last night um because the girl that does mine, she's freaking amazing, and she had posted, let's see if you can see this. She'd posted on her story. So can you see this girl?
yeah.
So now I'll go to the next one.
Oh my
She looks like a
gosh.
whole different person.
Yeah.
Like people who have like lighter eyebrows. I paid for I don't remember which birthday it was for my mom. I paid for hers to be done. My mom's blonde. Look like a totally different person. Looks amazing.
Yep, my mom got it done too, and it was like a night and day difference. It's one of those things that really changes your face, and like it's a game changer for sure.
And people are doing lip blushing, but I don't think I would want lip blushing. I like the option of having like different colors.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I like the option of showing people like this is what I really look like. And then and then once my makeup's on, they're like, "Holy shit, is that the same person?"
It's so
That's
funny
freaking
because men are like, I like natural women. I can remember like being at a dinner with it was a work dinner. This is a long time ago. And this like 25-year-old guy sitting next to me. It was actually the son of the boss. And he's like, because we're talking about like him dating and the kind of women he's looking for. He's like, I like really natural looking women, kind of like Heather. I'm like, dude, my hair is dyed. My eyebrows are microbladed. I have Botox in my forehead. My eyelashes are extensions. Like my lips have been injected. I've had Cabela in my chin. Like, dude, and we've only made it to like the bottom of my face. I don't think you know what natural means.
Well, you've had it done to where it looks natural, right? And so they can't tell. And that's like the best part. But yeah, majority of people, do not just look naturally beautiful.
Right? So they're like, why does this woman look so different without makeup? You're like, because that's how women look.
Right? I know, it's so crazy. I posted a picture on Instagram stories of what my nose looked like before my 3 nose jobs. And people
I
are like,
saw that.
it makes you look, it's so different, right? Like, and people, they don't realize like how much work people have had done.
Well, and
And
how much you change over the years too, from like when you were in high school to now is totally different. Like you're almost unrecognizable at that point. And the weird thing was I was looking at the picture with your mom. I'm like, Shannon looks just like her mother.
so
Isn't that
funny.
weird when you get older to like, even with us on camera right now, every once in a while I'll glance at myself and I'm like, oh my God, I look like my mom.
Yep, it's so true. I literally probably got like 30 messages from people being like, "Oh my gosh, you look just like your mom." And I'm like, that's so crazy. I'm pretty sure I manifested that because when I was younger, I just thought my mom was the most beautiful person in the whole world. And I was like, "Wow, when
Oh.
I'm older, I want to look just like you." And now when people say that, I'm like, "Yes, I got the plastic surgery to make me look like my mama."
So funny how that works out. I feel like we have talked about everything imaginable today. We should probably wrap this up. I feel like we have talked about everything imaginable today, but I want you to remember that authenticity is your superpower. Stay unapologetically yourself. Let's continue embracing our uniqueness together. Make sure you hit that follow button so that you don't miss our next episode.
Bye.